Rayz Dayz, episode 165. This is a weekly diary podcast hosted by me, Ray Taylor. But as I like to do at the end of every episode is talk about something and share something that I'm thankful for. And that is what I'm going to do right now. And what I am thankful for this week is being able to connect with artists, whether it's people in person or artists through the internet, which is great that the internet is there, and through social media you can connect with people on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff, right? I haven't had a lot of art friends since high school, since art class in high school in the late 90s, right? I had a lot of art. It's kind of crazy. My friend group in high school, we're all friends in middle school and high school. We met each other playing pickup basketball on the basketball court, but we're all like nerds, right? I was the fat kid. One of my friends was the Korean kid. There's a couple Japanese kids. There's the tall, skinny, nerdy kid, right? We were kind of the outcasts in a lot of ways, but we all enjoyed playing basketball, and we would all play pickup basketball on the basketball courts in the playground at school, middle school, and then in high school as well. And in high school, a lot of us were also into art, so we were like also in the same art class, which was kind of cool. And then also made art friends, other friends that were also in the arts and all that stuff. And it was a really fun group of friends that I had in high school, which were only high school friends. Only some of us were friends outside of high school. One of them, my friend Ricardo, who's Korean but born in Ecuador, we moved to San Diego together. He went to school. I went to get out of the desert, and we lived together as roommates for many years. One of my best friends, a great guy. And since then, I haven't had any real art friends, kind of here and there. Right, made friends with Mike Maxwell out in San Diego a little bit. Like, we never really hung out, but it was, and mostly we were friends through podcasting. There were some other art people that I knew through like Twitter, which that was always, it's always a weird dynamic when somebody knows you and they listen to your podcast, but then I don't know anything about them. So it becomes a very unbalanced relationship where they know so much about me and they think that we're friends, but from my perspective, they're a stranger to me. And I try to be positive, as you try to do when you have, a public persona or whatever, and people are fans of the work you do, whether they enjoy your podcast or they enjoy your art. It's a very weird thing, and it kind of was illuminated quite a bit more when I was in Denver and actually met some of the people. And it's very weird. It's very uncomfortable to have somebody treat you like they know everything about you, but then I have no idea anything about them. They are complete strangers to me. And to that off balance thing is wild. So it's been hard to connect with people that know me through this podcast, because it's hard to get to know somebody when they, like, not everybody has a podcast that I could just subscribe to and get to know them. But I literally have been doing that for over a decade, where people can get to know me on a very personal level, and I know nothing about them. So it's like they consider us to be friends, but it's like it's only a one-way friendship because I don't know who they are. And I've been on the other side of that, being friends with, or trying to be friends with, people that I enjoy their podcasts and they follow me because they know I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. But like, I talk to them like I talk to friends, and it's like that's not what they're into. They don't know anything about me. Right? They're following me to be polite. They're not following me because they don't listen to my podcast. And I've seen it go the other way, where I've lost, like, people have unfollowed me on that end where I was a fan of their podcast. And it's like, I understand that. But then I've unfollowed people and that have gotten very angry at me for me unfollowing them, especially on Twitter, which I don't even have that Twitter account anymore. So it's been a very weird thing. But recently, over the past week, or actually over the past few months, doing the live art events, being able to connect with actual artists in the Valley, and also connect with them over social media, keep in touch over social media, but also with TikTok, being able to follow and connect with other artists that are on TikTok. And there was one that I was able to have a nice back and forth with. We're both kind of in a similar level of our trying to make this work to be full time. So it's nice to talk to somebody that you have, you're both on the same page with a lot of things, and having the same connections and understanding the reality of being an artist. Like, people who are artists, they're not necessarily outgoing people. They're artists because they are used to spending a lot of time working on something alone. I got into art because when I'm an only child, I went home after school and I spent all my time painting, right? And it's similar for a lot of people. Not that they're all, I mean, some artists are more extroverted, especially if you add in substances like alcohol and drugs. It's very easy to kind of break down those barriers when you're taking substances. But it's a very different lifestyle that people don't understand, that like you are very much spending a lot of time by yourself working on something. Especially depending on the work you do. Like when I was doing acrylic paintings, I would spend hours on like looking at my canvas, working on my canvas, working on pieces of art. Now making art the way I do, I make a lot of art in a very short amount of time, but I mean, all of the things that I do that involve creative effort, whether it's painting, editing video, creating this podcast, editing this podcast, doing Photoshop work, design work for bands and comics, or doing web design, or doing these product videos, these photo shoots and videos, and all of these different things, like they're all very creative pursuits that require me to do things very much alone on my own, which I enjoy. I enjoy that. I enjoy being alone. I enjoy learning. I enjoy challenging myself. And I enjoy talking to other people that have the same struggles as me, that have the same, that are inspired in the same way, that are, their brains are wired in a way that is similar to the way my brain is wired, and it's very rare to talk to people who understand what that's like. So all of those reasons, I love connecting with other artists, and there's a wide variety. Not all artists are the same. There's artists that are douchebags. There are artists that are assholes. There are artists that are egomaniacs. There are artists that are doing the thing for all kinds of different reasons. But there's also that flavor of artist that is exactly what I am and I speak to, and it feels very easy and comfortable, and I appreciate that. And it's, it's, if you have the art thing in common and then you also kind of exist in the same reality, it's nice because it's rare. So I enjoy that. And, I've never done any collaborations with other artists aside from podcasting. I've definitely collaborated, been on other people's podcasts and vice versa, produced other podcasts with people, but I've never produced like artwork with other artists. And that's kind of something that I would like to do at some point in the future. Obviously art class, being around a lot of people that are into the same thing. Obviously there's the kind of events that you can go do, like the painting and wine events, which is a very kind of a social thing, but not as much about painting. That is definitely more for like the casual artist type of a person. I've never been to any of those. Obviously art events, like I've taken part in, whether it be in San Diego at the Ray at night or out here doing like the 111 night markets, and being able to see other artists, how they set up their stuff, kind of where they're at, what they're struggling with, what they're trying to do with their work. Of course, indoor kind of art events like gallery shows, group shows. Haven't done any of those since San Diego. There is a small possibility there is an event which I'll talk about later. It's not booked. I'm not even like haven't even heard anything back. But there's one group show that's taking place in August that I want to be a part of. So maybe I will finally do another group show at some point. Right? It's an interesting thing, and I'm glad that I'm making more art friends and connections and all of that. And hopefully the group show works out, because then that'll just be another step in this journey that I'm happy to make and excited to make. But yeah, it's great. Same language, crazy life too. Like, this life that I'm living is like so. I mean, even though a lot of artists have day jobs, and I was at that place at one point, especially in San Diego, working a day job, and my artwork and doing events was very much a side gig type of a thing. I am in a completely different place right now in my life where it is far more of my life in a lot of ways. So I don't know. So dealing with similar struggles is something we can share as well. But, and also getting to know other artists, opportunities can come up. You hear about other events, different things. I would love to do live painting at some point that's not just on YouTube. I could easily do live painting. I could easily do what I do at these live events. The only thing that would be tough would be recording. I like to record the artwork that I make so that I can share it on social media. If I do these art events, I'm not going to set up 3 cameras like I do at home with lighting gear, right? It would be something that would be just for the show, just for the event. And, I would like to do that at some point. I think it would be fun to do. It would be super easy for me to do. I am very comfortable painting in my style, doing what I do. And to have people watch me as I do it, I could easily block that out. The closest I've done to that would be a mural I did, window painting I did at a movie theater. I did like these giant paintings of like zebras that were being ridden like horses for the movie Racing Stripes back in like 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. Whenever Racing Stripes was in the theaters. Massive window paintings that I did that people would come up. I had headphones on, so I kind of blocked it out, but that was really fun. I would also love to do murals. It'd be interesting to just try and adapt my style to canvas or adapt it to walls, using different mediums, but still trying to keep the vibe that I try to do with my work. It'd be an interesting challenge. So, and then also the graphic design I've done has been a lot of fun. Getting to work for a lot of different comedians that I like and that I appreciate. Done work for like bands. Like, it's really fun to work with people, especially people that like the work that you do and give you creative freedom. I really enjoy that. Unlike Dave Bird in the show Dave, who is somebody that would be a headache to work with. But that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for other artists and the artist communities that I've seen and been a part of. Either way, I am thankful for the opportunity to connect with all of you through this podcast and for the chance to share my journey with you. Please join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next Saturday for another episode of Rayz Dayz. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.